So let's talk about these pair of fakes. First thing I'd like to address is Salah's mode of dress. His short shorts, in other words. Islamic law decrees that you must be covered from your navel to below your knees. Those shorts that you had on, Salah, if you see this video, barely covered your little tiddler. And not only that, you were in a very suggestive pose, a bit like your wives really, with your legs wide open. Sitting like that in front of women in any religion would be considered provocative, flirtatious, obscene, and certainly in Islam, haram, totally haram. So why doesn't it matter to you? I also noticed that you were smoking cigarettes or roll-ups. Haram. Although there's a little bit of a conflict there in the law, because obviously tobacco hadn't been discovered when Muhammad, peace be upon him, was alive and giving out all these decrees that you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. But what is said, and what Allah does say, is that no intoxicants should be put into your body. Nothing harmful should be put into your body. Therefore, you see, you minimise the risks, don't you, of getting diseases. But we know that you smoke now, tobacco. We know that you smoke shisha. So I know a lot of Arabs do, and you know, they like the wacky wacky at the weekend. It used to be at work, you know, if for some reason we had to be in the office for a couple of hours a weekend, you know, their weekend, say Friday, and Prince so-and-so had to come in, and he would come in very happy, sometimes dressed in Western clothes, and somebody said, "Can you smell the wacky backy?" Oh, I didn't know what wacky backy smelled like, so I had to say no, as was my modus operandi there, saying no, usually. No to do you like whiskey. No to all Westerners like whiskey, don't they? Do you smoke? Do you want some tobacco? No. All sorts of things that were said to me by a certain Arab gentleman there, who had also boasted to me that he'd gotten rid of Western women who come out to work there by making them cry and upsetting them, and I guess by doing things that he attempted to do with me, but he came unstuck there because I was in a pretty privileged position, my job, working for a man who was also in a very privileged position, and therefore Mr. All Westerners Like Whiskey listened when I told him enough's enough. you're not going to make me cry, you're not going to upset me. And if this goes on, then I shall complain about you. And saying it in a very firm way, so he knew that I meant it. You know, the thing was, if you were working for, say, members of the royal family or higher up Saudi officials, then it was thought that you just put your head down, got on with your work, didn't miser them about anything, because for the most part they didn't know about the things that were being dealt with. I had to take them to the American guys who were holding up the fort there. So, so those things, going back to Salah, certain things are haram. Alcohol, we all know it's haram. But you could get it over there. And of course, the whiskey you could go to the air base to do at the air base, and you would get the real stuff. You could, British Aerospace and that used to make their own. There was a leaflet we were given when we arrived at our place of work, informally, and it was called the Blue Flame, and it was telling us how, if we were going to imbibe of home-produced alcohol, how to tell if it was good stuff or not, particularly the Sadiq or the Siddiqui, which in Arabic means my friend, and it was a very potent, it would blow your head off. You take a sip of that and your lips would be completely burnt. Just the smell of it was enough. You used to get a bottle, the big bottle of that, and then you used to cut it half with water, so you got half and half, and then you would, if you were going to drink something, you'd have a very small amount, teensy-weensy, like a single scotch, say. You'd have that in a glass with a lot of ice, topped up with whatever juice, soda you wanted. And sometimes that wasn't even enough. You had to cut it again. It was very, very strong. You needed a still to make it. And while I was there was one fella who had a still, and I don't know what happened, the whole thing went up, and it took a couple of houses with it, so he was in a lot of trouble. Jail time, and if they were going to make him pay for the damage to the property, then he would be working on the chain gang until the end of his life and still owe money. I don't know what happened to him. But Salah smoking, yes, strictly speaking, it is haram. Many scholars have said it's haram simply because of that. It's an intoxicant which will harm the body, same as alcohol. Shisha, like tobacco, wasn't around, but it's a way for people to wind down and relax, and maybe that isn't an altogether bad thing, but I don't know whether that would be frowned upon or not. I don't know, because personally I wouldn't frown upon other stuff in moderation. There you go, there's the clue, in moderation. But as for the dress code, those shorts, even by Western standards, were too short. And the way in which you posed with your leg open, showing all your crotch, was, it was obscene. You know, it left little. It didn't leave anything to the imagination. I just looked and thought, wow, something's going to fall out of there if you're not careful. And you just sat there like the Omar Sharif personality you are. Chill. It's chill, baby. It's chill, honey. You think you're something else, Salah. And you are something else. You're a paid-for man. A paid-for Muslim man. At that. Paid for by a £500 woman who you proposed marriage to the day after you started to speak to her on Tinder. The day after. How could you know that she was the one for you, apart from the fact that she was a Canadian citizen and told you she was making a six-figure salary? Apart from those two things, how did you know she was the one for you? As for Chantal, we all know. She just wanted, seriously, she would never look at any other man other than a Middle Eastern man. I don't know why she has this obsession with Arabic men. It certainly hasn't been the religion. How many times has she said she's an atheist? Many times. And almost overnight, she'd accepted his proposal. She'd got her seat, her ticket booked to Kuwait, getting rid of her animals, including Pete's. And there she was. Oh. But in the next video I'm going to make, because I'm on a bit of a roll now, I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask a couple of questions that people appear not to have been asking, and they need to be answered. But before that, I have to be asked, don't I? So I'll come back and I will do that. Especially for you, Mariam.